We're back here on Salient Points number 55. This one's for February 8th, 2022. I know we were kind of messing up on the numbering system, Dalan. You said this one's like 56. So like no. Last week it was just me and Deo. Because you missed last week, Dalan. We won't get into the details. Just let the people know you missed last week. So there was reasonably hyped last week, 2 episodes of that. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. But we're back at it. Salient Points 55. I'm Carlos Macias, your host of this here fine program. Dalan with the 95% hit rate, Dalan. Dalan Kirkwood from up in the mountains. Thank you for joining us, sir.
I'll take the fact that it dropped. But let's talk about the fact that you didn't even bring up Luis in this one.
What Luis?
He also missed it. He wasn't here either.
No. Look.
Like it's like it only counts what I'm missing. All right, that's fine.
That's true. Luis is like at 100% in my book. All right, let me just put it that way. He's like mainly because producing is fucking hard, man. I don't know if you guys know, but if you have someone ever producing your content, please give them the respect they deserve because it's some nonsense out there. It's wacky out there. But yes, Luis on the Wheels of Steel. Thank you for joining us again, sir. I hope you enjoyed your. You were gone for like 3 months, dude. I hope you enjoyed that.
Oh yeah, 3 whole months. No, like 10 days.
Okay,
10 days.
Reasonable. You were. Do you care to tell the internet where you were at? Like what you were up to, real quick?
I was in Florida, man. I was in Florida, out in Orlando. Did the whole park tour, Disney World and Universal. So took some time out to do that.
Okay,
yeah, it was good.
Nice. Thanks for coming back, man, and dealing with the wackiness over here. And it's turning. I'm sorry, Dalan, but it's turning as a per usual type of thing. But Deo Blas, thank you, sir, for joining us from up in the Bay.
How's it going, guys?
I'm fine with this. Welcome to the group, man.
And I know Dalan thinks the Bay is in LA, so you're just a few miles from here, Dale. So
hey, man, welcome to the LA Bay. You're now the entire West Coast is the Bay. That's what
we got the Cali folks in here,
Yeah, very. And I know, Dale. I was hoping. I'm hoping to make Deo a regular part of this. So I hope we could kind of hold on to your attention and you're wanting to be a part of it, Deo. So thank you for joining us, sir. And you know what we were thinking, because we did have quite a bit of fun last week. We are going to be splitting up the show. I don't know what the second part of the show is. It's either going to be like what you've been playing or game club or something. We'll figure that out. But it was kind of wacky last week as far as the game club is concerned. So we're going to do the first part that drops Tuesdays. It's going to be the news show, and then the following day is going to be kind of whatever we've been playing for the last week. So we got plenty to talk about. But this past week, man, it shouldn't be as big of a news, but we always do, and I'll always start off with this, right? Put the camera on me, Dalan. Stop logging into GTA 5. Please stop doing that. But finally, Rockstar did confirm that Grand Theft Auto 6 development is quote unquote well underway and is significantly more ambitious than GTA 5. The other thing they said was, we look forward to sharing more as soon as we are ready. So it's not too surprising that, of course, all this money has to go somewhere, right? All this GTA 5 cash has to go somewhere. So, of course, they're developing GTA 6. But look, Luis, we haven't heard from you in a little while, man. Let's go to you first, dude. What are you thinking about Rockstar and GTA 6 development?
I don't know how accurate that wording is, but obviously I also don't know how accurate the report was about. No, the quote of them well underway. Because there was a report recently about how they were basically still struggling in pre-production, like they don't even know what the game is still. So, but who knows how valid that claim is too. So but yeah, either way, dude, I've been saying, everyone's complaining they're not gonna make GTA 6 until you stop logging. I'm like, dude, don't even trip. Like, they'll get to it.
I just told them to stop logging into it, man. I just told them we're not.
That's shit. I was just playing yesterday, dude.
So stop doing it, dude. Like, why? Why are you doing this to us? Damn.
And then I'm gonna jump back when I get the PlayStation Plus upgrade for PS5. So
they're just keeping people. They're just keeping people in the ecosystem, right? Dale, what are your thoughts, man? Now they're finally like, yeah, we're working on it. Shut up. We'll talk to you guys later.
It's been too long, man. Like I was gauging that tweet that they sent out, and I think within 24 hours that tweet hit half a million. I think it was 500K likes on, the engagement was huge. Yeah. So that means a lot of people are really looking forward to GTA 6. I don't know if they're necessarily getting tired of GTA 5. I'm actually
they're not,
wanting
dude.
to jump
Last
back
I
into
checked, they're still you motherfuckers are still logging in.
Let's get some hype.
There's a sale. There's an Epic Game sale right now. I was like, it looks good.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
yeah,
GTA 6, like a lot of people want it. I want it. Like I'm tired of Rockstar only working on like one game a decade or two games a decade.
Yeah, no, and
something new.
You don't get into the online too much, huh? You don't get into the online portion.
No,
of that?
not that much.
See, I'm waiting for the campaign too, man. And I know there's kind of rumors going around that it's like Vice City, maybe. I'm kind of hyped for that. If it is Vice City, like a modern day Vice City, I would be pretty hyped for it. Luis is nodding his head. Deo, I don't know if you would be hyped for the Vice City, or you want something completely new, I guess.
I've been hearing Tijuana. I've been hearing Atlanta.
Okay, interesting.
But I don't know. Vice City would be awesome, just because the PlayStation 2 version of Vice City was, I mean, relatively small, and they could totally expand more upon it, or like have a history like back in the 80s and have it like a little bit more
I think
modern.
they could do something really cool with it, right? Like it's a modern setting, but you still have quote unquote history from Vice City, right? And they're bringing that forward. Dalan, what are your thoughts on these guys finally confirming that it's working? Well, look, we're questioning the quoting, which I think is perfectly fair, Luis. But at the very least, they told us we'll talk to you guys soon. Shut up. We'll talk to you guys soon. But so, Dalan, what are your thoughts here on them confirming, basically?
Finally, after we've been yelling at them to make a GTA 6, I mean, we still need a Half-Life 3, but that's fine.
Not the same company, Dalan, but that's fine.
I know. But what I would hope that they would do at some point, because they have so many of these worlds that they've created, or lands, I don't know what you'd want to call them. There's so many of these.
No one calls them lands, Dalan. No
one calls
them lands. Please,
Carlos, let me say my piece. Shut up.
Please. My bad. But nobody calls them lands.
But as they did with Franklin and GTA 5, and actually putting together all of these other smaller pieces in one little world, I would love for them to be able to actually just make a very large game with multiple cities in it. Like, I'd want to have Vice City, San Andreas, and whatever city, the Los Santos, all in the same place. I'd love to actually see that all happen at the same time, and you be able to travel between these places.
You want San Andreas.
We have the memory.
You want San Andreas.
What I'm saying is that we have the memory, the technology. We make these large games. Why can't we just put a couple of games together and say, hey, let's put a story in there, make a new character?
It's that easy, right? Lise, can you tell them that
game
development
is
that easy, please? Can you tell them
that and they're also in completely different parts of the country. So
I know.
They'd have to fill in a lot of empty space, or just teleport you there.
But think of it as the main campaign. You go from one city to the next, and you have story and reason to do each one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
or at least travel back and forth.
And you can work out, you can gain weight, lose weight, you can do all kinds of stuff, right? Like little RPG
That's
elements.
Some BS, right there.
You're talking about 2004 San Andreas, Dalan. That's what you're talking about. That's what you want. Which is fine.
I dropped out of San Andreas for that exact reason. So
that's what you're asking for 6. Why are you asking for that thing? You're gonna drop out of this one too.
I'm just talking about the story and the world that they actually created. I don't care. Yeah, having the option is nice. All right, there you go.
That'd be sick though. Like if it's like GTA USA or GTA London, like UK or something. Like that. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, Dylan. I agree with you. But I feel like more of a contained world, like Vice City, because Vice City was my favorite of the PS2 era. Grand Theft Autos was Vice City, and even though San Andreas was cool in its own way, but I think it was like very, very sprawling, very like huge, and I don't know, I didn't get into it as much as I did Vice City. Vice City just had a nice ass vibe.
Vice City was the one that kept me going in it. I actually beat that game. That's the only GTA that I actually ever beat.
But you're asking for the other one, but that's fine, Dalan. Look,
I'm also asking for Vice City.
Luis mentioned this earlier, but yes. I hope you're happy, Luis. Grand Theft Auto 5 and the online version of is dropping for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. And the speaker, as DJ Khaled would call the Xbox Series S, the speaker is finally dropping on March 15. It's going to have 4K, 60 frames, HDR, ray tracing, etc., etc. Luis, are you super hyped? We did talk about it a couple days ago. I was like, dude, I will not pay for this game again. And you said it's going to be a free update. And I'm like, I guess I'm there.
Yeah.
I guess I'm.
Oh, thank goodness! Hey, man, we need to do those. I want to call them raids right now because I've been playing too much Destiny.
Heist.
Heist. I want to do some heist.
We
Thank
got
you,
a
Luis.
lot of them to get through. Yeah. The only thing I'm sad about with this is that every month leading up to the launch of GTA 5 on PS5 or next gen, I guess, they've been doing every single month you get 1 million GTA cash for just free, just for like going on the PlayStation Store, claim it, and you get $1 million.
Ooh, it's February. Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
now.
go claim your free cash. But yeah, so now I'm like, damn, now I'm gonna have to start grinding a little harder, you know. But cool, yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to see what the gameplay improvements are for vehicles specifically, what they were talking about.
Well,
so.
even just frame wise, right? Like frame wise, it doesn't run at 60 now, right? Or it does?
No, well, I mean, just simply playing the game on PS5, it actually has a better frame rate and load times already. So I'm already like waiting to see what they'll do with that, because the PS4, dude, that definitely was not running at 30 like all the time already. So
was definitely having some issues, right? Yeah.
You can see those explosions and the frame drops. It was nasty.
So look, it's a free download, dude. I'm down for this. Dale, what's got you? You're kind of hyped about this, or no? You're ready for 6 like I am, or what you thinking about this next gen update?
Like, I really want to play 5 again because I haven't played it since like the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 era. But it's been a long time. But this hype for GTA 6 like makes me want to go back and play the campaign for GTA 5
Don't
again.
do it, dude.
I would
Stop
pay money.
logging in.
It's
Stop
really
logging in.
good. I remember really liking it back in the day. I just never got into the online stuff. But yeah, I would definitely buy it. I haven't heard all the details for any of the upgrades, but if it's similar to like the PC port of it, I'm willing to just go and buy it on the PlayStation 5. I'm down for that.
Well, just go play RDR2. You'll be fine.
You already have it on PlayStation 4, or you never bought the PlayStation 4 version of it? Okay.
I only ever bought the Xbox 360 version. That's the only one I own.
Oh, my bad. My bad, Dale. We see more of an Xbox gamer here, which is fine. We don't discriminate, but that's true. I'm like PlayStation, and you're like, wait. We're talking Xbox here. But yeah, no, I haven't played it either since that era, since PS3, 360 era version of this game, man. Stop logging into GTA 5, please. But yeah, I think maybe I would consider kind of playing a few missions of the campaign again.
Pretty sure we just literally talked about going back into the game.
That's the heights, though. That's the heights. I'm talking about the campaign. I'm talking about the campaign, Dalan.
Okay.
I did the contract. I did the Dr. Dre stuff. I think I'm good on online. I'm sorry, Luis, but I think I might be good with online. Dalan, what's got you hyped about this next gen update of the game?
Free. That's all. Okay. That's all you needed to tell me. Free, and I'm down. I'll be there for it. I will get it. I will play it. I don't know how long I'll play it for, but I want to play it, especially with a crew, which is why, Carlos, you decided to bounce out of this one. It's kind of sad. But we got me, Luis, and a couple other people that play. Carlos. Yeah, I know, man.
I'll think about it, man. I'll think about it.
After all your arguing of Dalan, just buy it, and then a month later, you're like, nah, I'm done.
I mean, I wanted to do a couple things in it, and I did. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, you made me spend money on. You know what? I'll just lose the fact that I now own a copy of this game that I can no longer ever get rid of because it is not a physical copy. I cannot make the excuse that I traded my game in. I can't do.
I like it though. I like that. So I'll jump in for a mission or two. Even though I keep telling the internet to stop logging in. But look, another thing you were just talking about buying a copy. Dan, there's been plenty of copies sold of this game. This is Jason. Look, this is our favorite. This is our favorite journalist, Dalan, Mr. Jason Schreier, was out there. I know he's Luis's favorite journalist, so I appreciate that, Luis. Give him a little shout out. But he did give us a little bit of perspective on GTA 5. So, Dalan, the Resident Evil franchise has sold 123 million copies of the Resident Evil franchise, right? 123.
All of it. Every single
thing. The Assassin's Creed, as I put As Creed on here, I hope you guys appreciate that on the rundown. But the Assassin's Creed franchise has sold 155 million, right? The Final Fantasy VII franchise has sold 164 million copies.
I like the fact that you added a 7 there. You're talking about all of Final Fantasy, not just 7.
Oh, good catch. Yeah. Good catch, Dalan. Hey, good catch. So Final Fantasy franchise, 164 million. Just GTA 5, dude, has sold 160 million copies, dude. Just Grand Theft Auto 5. And then they talked about, I know you guys didn't care, but then they talk about the GTA, the borked GTA, the trilogy, that it was so crappy they had to do updates. I'm pretty sure it still plays like crap. Has sold 10 million copies, and they're so happy about how many they quote unquote sold in. But as far as like how many just the single GTA 5 has sold, Luis, what do you got to say for yourself, man? Like what's up with this?
It's because of people like you, Carlos, convincing their friends to
Okay.
buy a copy, and then nobody gets on. That's exactly what's happening.
I wonder how many copies of Skyrim have been sold.
That's true,
Oh
man.
man.
You know, GTA 5 is basically like the other consoles is Mario Kart, right? Like you pick up a Switch and you pick up Mario Kart 8, right? Like that's it. Like that's you pick up a PlayStation, you pick up an Xbox. Well, of course I'm getting GTA 5. Of course I'm picking that up. But yeah, just the fact that just a single game has kind of outsold Assassin's Creed and Resident Evil, close to outselling the Final Fantasy franchise. It's just nuts, dude. These guys are, no wonder we're getting like a third version of this game, years and years later. What we're not getting much of, or they're kind of trying to distance themselves away from this thing, is Stadia, man. Google is finally like, we are, quote, deprioritizing it and rebranding. I don't know what the hell. They're actually going to start calling it Google Stream. So that's going to be kind of interesting because there's already like a DirecTV stream. So I don't know if that's kind of, you know how everybody adds pluses to everything, Apple Plus, Disney Plus, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if that's kind of a way for them to be like, look, we like Google Stream. We're going to start dropping it into different places. Look, I don't have too many details. My fault, Deo. But maybe you can help us out a little bit if you have a couple more details about what Google's doing here as far as...
So I have a friend who worked on the Google Stadia project, and he was there for about 2.5 years before launch. I think they were starting to distance him about a year ago.
Okay.
Just him.
Yeah, just him. But like he was like, when he told me about it, he kind of told me, under the radar. He's like, man, I'm working on this project. I'm getting really excited. Like Google's actually funding this thing for me and a bunch of other devs to get it off the ground and have it like a real product. And so, but the thing is, whenever he would update me after that initial like a development phase, he's just like, man, it's gonna take a lot more backing and a lot more work in order to get it done, because America's internet infrastructure isn't the best to support this kind of streaming service. And they are really relying on like a lot of third-party support, which like never really got off the ground with maybe like a few titles on it. But it was pretty much DOA like once the launch happened, and like no excitement was generated from it. It happens in Silicon Valley all the time. Like Google has and Apple and Facebook have just all these like competing teams to try to get their product out. And if theirs doesn't like hit that spotlight or hit astronomical feats, then they kind of just... Well,
it's also the fact that you're kind of they were asking people to pay like $60 for a cloud version of a game. Right?
Yes. Just the controller.
Well, just the controller, but even on top of that, it's like, pay $60 and it's not a physical copy. Even like say on your PlayStation or your Xbox, we've talked about it before. Even on those, you're kind of renting your game when you buy it digitally, because you're renting the license. They can just up and decide. Like, I don't think they'll ever do it because the PR nightmare of doing such a thing, right? But you're buying a license to it that they can decide. Like, you know what? We're deprioritizing PlayStation. We're doing Sony Stream now. Like, you're gonna have to rebuy everything. It's a perfect 1-to-1, Dalan. I'm sorry to be so perfect about my analogies here, but it's
getting hit up on this one.
But I think that's part of Google Stadia, right? The fact that you're still asking people to pay full price for a cloud version of a thing that, at least on your PlayStation or your Xbox, you have a local copy of it that your internet goes out, you might still have to do a check-in or whatever, but the likelihood is that you'll be able to play your local copy at kind of high fidelity. And
Cyberpunk was really good on it, but other than that, that was like the only big story that I heard from it for the last 2 years.
I don't know how much else you can say about your friend. We don't want to get him or you or anyone in trouble, but it's like a downsizing thing over there that they're considering. I don't know if you know the details or if you want to disclose
I
that
don't.
either.
Okay. No,
okay.
I don't.
Okay, gotcha.
He didn't. He just told me that. I was like, oh yeah, I'm off that project now. I'm working on something else. So.
Okay. Well, as long as they keep, but it is Google, right? Google shuts shit down all the time. So at least, I mean, they're ghettoizing it, I guess, in a way, right? It's kind of what they're doing, right? Like they're like, we're not gonna give it the big push that we were considering giving it or whatever, but you know, it still exists.
But that's weird though, because I'm surprised they're pivoting it to like a streaming thing, where as most of the time, if Google axes a project, they literally just like they decatap it. What do you call it? Like chop off the head.
I know what
everything goes everywhere else. All your funding and all the people goes to like other projects that need the help.
Yeah. Okay. Luis, what are your thoughts on this, man? The fact that Stadia no more, man. That's what it's looking like.
I mean, dude, they sent me a free Stadia and I still didn't use it. Like, so I tried it out a bit. I played a few games here and there, but it wasn't as that really that good of an experience. As opposed to like, well, I could play the same game on my PlayStation or just straight up on my PC on Steam or something.
Yeah.
So I think it is more to do with, rather than what you were saying about, because I think the stigma for a good portion of the audience has gotten away from, I don't have a physical copy. Like that's just normal. You download something right on your phone, on the App Store, on your console. I think it has more to do with what Dale was saying with the internet. It just isn't quite there yet to where it makes that like a really good, seamless, awesome experience. Like it's almost there, but it's just not quite reaching that point yet. So I think it has more to do with that.
Yeah,
which
and
is probably why they're deprioritizing and not killing it.
And we have an option, like if you have Game Pass, you have xCloud, and every time I've tried xCloud, it just doesn't run right, dude. Even at home, like, look, to be honest, I'm trying to run this thing like public transportation at work or whatever. I'm working. As far as you guys are concerned, I'm working, but like it just doesn't. It's not smooth, dude. It's like too glitchy. But the problem is, even at home, it's not really that smooth of an experience. Where I shouldn't have, I have pretty decent internet at home, and it's still not that great. So I can only imagine. And I know you've mentioned before, Luis, but one of the things was like the fidelity, right? Like I think you were trying to play like something like a scary game or Resident Evil or something. You couldn't. It was too dark, right, or something like that, where it's like just.
It wasn't rendering the blacks that great, like the dark sort of areas in the game. Yeah, and I think that just has to do with they're doing that so that they could send that image to you quickly, but it's not exactly that sharp, right?
But it's a problem. Right? So, but we'll see what happens. I guess I do like the fact that like they sent me one and it's like it's there. I mean, it's there in the closet.
It's over there,
messing
dude.
With it.
It's right there.
Dalan, before we move on off of this, man, what are your thoughts here on Google Stadia /Stream?
Well, part of my thing for Google Stadia, when it first came out, I thought to myself, who's going to buy this thing? Why would we buy this thing when we have the systems that these come on and PC? But I guess it was originally geared towards people that would travel a lot and be able to play the game pretty much wherever they go and be able to log into the system. But who's traveling now? And how many gamers are really traveling like that to just go play anywhere when they could just play in the comfort of their own home? So I didn't see that Google Stadia had an appeal to begin with. And I was surprised that I missed the fact that they launched because I stopped following them for a while. Then I forgot that they launched because, didn't think anybody cared about Stadia. Then I found out Stadia was making news. I was like, how is this company still open?
Well, it's Google.
So,
deep pockets.
It's Google.
Deep pockets.
Yeah, that was it. Google just kept funding it, even though they were just hemorrhaging money into this thing. So
yeah. So for what
it's about time.
It's about time, and like I said, they're ghettoizing it. You'll see it on TVs, maybe. I don't see why you wouldn't just see it on every single TV that comes out in the next few the next few years, or the next few days too, Dalan, if you want. But
the selling point is gone. All right.
So look, this was a big point, or this was a reasonably hyped last week. It's the big news for Luis. We did, if you guys want, go to reasonably hyped, and we did talk about Sony buying Bungie, but we did get a few more details, and that's kind of the big thing for Luis this week, right? Luis, what's this thing here? A couple more wrinkles onto this story.
So talking about a company that's not deprioritizing something, which is their employees that they've just recently acquired. It's Sony aims to incentivize current Bungie staff to stay. Now, this could probably be tied to the fact that they're looking to release 10 live service games within the next few years. And Bungie's also releasing one by 2025 as already. But basically, there's a quote in the release that came out that says, quote, approximately 1/3 of the 3.6 billion considered for the acquisition consists primarily of deferred payments to employees' shareholders, conditional upon their continued employment and other retention incentives. So that's roughly about 1.2 billion of that, and then the rest would go to what I'm assuming would be Sony taking stock in the company.
Yeah, the actual acquisition, right? Like the actual we own Destiny 2.
So this would be paid over the course of several years. They didn't say quite, maybe like 2 to 3. But yeah, so that's kind of interesting news that they value that team so much based off of what their plans are for the next few years, that they want to sort of retain that knowledge and that group base. But that's kind of what I dug up on, and I was keen to see what you guys thought about it as well.
Well, what do you how do you feel? Do you see these happen? Yeah, I don't know if personally, Luis, but I'm sure you hear some stuff right in the development community that companies are bought up. Part of the sale is the IP or whatever they own or their expertise, and then a chunk is like, please continue to work with us. Or is this really kind of a little out of the norm, I guess, or this is typical?
I don't think it's that out of the norm for a number like that, though. You don't kind of see that often, I don't think. Because I've worked at startups that have done that. They just swallow up basically an entire company, and they do get incentives like, stake in the company, shares, certain perks, I guess you could say, to like sort of stay with the company and incentivize them to stay there longer past that acquisition. So, but yeah, you don't kind of see numbers like this that often.
This one's one of those, definitely, like Sony is like, oh, we're gonna build this shit up. Don't think that's what it feels like to me, right? It's like, no, we will continue. This will keep growing. We didn't just spend a couple $1 billion for nothing.
Yeah.
We're gonna
I mean, Bungie will still be multi-platform once this is over. So they'll still sort of retain that quote unquote independence, but
yeah.
I guess Sony will be getting a huge chunk of that money.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what I've been thinking about the whole Xbox, Activision, and Bungie Sony thing. It's like it just makes more sense to keep everything multi-platform and just add incentives for your own platform, like day one on Game Pass or this perk when you're playing on PlayStation. So, yeah.
On the Xbox side, I think so. It makes sense because they have Game Pass, right? Like that, they want to funnel everyone towards Game Pass, and I think that the as far as on the Microsoft side, they get the incentives like, hey, come to Game Pass, but that's okay. If you want to pay us $70 over there on PlayStation, go on ahead. So I think it makes sense, but Sony doesn't necessarily have a Game Pass style. So I think
not yet.
I think they're not yet, right? Not yet. Which we'll see how we've talked about it. Yeah, Spartacus or whatever.
I think PlayStation Now is the closest thing they have.
But so if Sony was there, I would kind of think of the multi-platform makes sense and all that. But I think, as far as what we've seen, their MO, that's modus operandi for you, Dalan, had their MO for Sony. I like how Dalan like always gives me a face. So you guys make sure to check out the video on that part.
Why are you hitting me up about this?
So what they've shown is that it's probably more beneficial for them to have these big exclusive blockbuster titles, right? That obviously sell PlayStations, right? But so that's the more interesting part on the Sony thing. Dalan, we'll go with you, and then Dale kind of on the new wrinkles that were introduced, right? Because we talked about it last week. But Dalan, what are your thoughts here, man, on like the acquisition or the fact that how they're kind of formatting the deal and all that?
Hey, with the fact that they're allowing them to stay multi-platform, I'm fine with this deal. It's like across the board of them purchasing Bungie or acquiring Bungie, that by itself is fine with me. And on top of that, they did the extra step of actually trying to retain all these employees and having that incentive. But the only thing it makes me think of, I know you said that they'd probably be trying to build up these team members, but I'm thinking more along the lines of they're trying to utilize these team members for some of their other games that weren't as successful as they wanted them to be.
Yeah.
So they could actually take these people that are now under their employ and say, all right, you guys did a great job here, here, and here. We need you on these games to fix them.
And
Because
Sony,
Bungie does a great job in just monetizing their own game. They've been there doing Destiny, and people are still buying these $80 packs or a $30 pack or a $40 pack
paid $30
all in a short period.
We just dropped another 30, Dalan, and I was like, really?
That's
I'm
what
about
I'm
to
talking
do
about.
this for like 2 more missions.
They do so well that they're like, all right, let's have this team give us more money in all these other games.
I do think you're onto something as far as that's concerned. Like, what I don't know if necessarily fixed, but they don't necessarily have like a big shooter all to themselves either, right? Sony has it. The last thing was maybe Killzone, right? Was the last kind of big
I forgot
push.
about Killzone.
Yeah. So and Haze, I think, was theirs. I don't know if they were the ones that published it or something, but yeah. So Sony doesn't have one of their own, and yes, definitely we're definitely gonna be seeing more of Bungie included in these different little projects and first-person shooters, because especially now that Call of Duty is going to be Xbox. They say it's not exclusive, but all the marketing, first map pack on Xbox, first on Game Pass, blah blah blah. It will, for a lot of people, will be de facto Xbox exclusive, right? Even though it's going to be multi-platform, right? But Dale, what do you think of these kind of new wrinkles that have come up as far as this Bungie deal, man, in the last week?
It's a huge deal. I think the commitment that Sony has towards the purchase and supporting their employees is a big thing. That's like part of their culture, that they like to keep their homegrown talent, and they like to encourage people to stay and have the freedom to just create. Don't worry about having job security, don't worry about all this other stuff. We just want you to create the best type of games that you can have. And it speaks a lot that they're willing to invest that much into just employees. I'm sure, and like a lot of people say that Sony might be broke somehow, even though that runs the rounds of the internet quite a few times.
Which out of all the divisions, they make the most revenue, right? I mean, mainly because it's their cash cow, right? Gaming for Sony is
they're invested in many fields too. It's not just gaming. It's it's retirement funds for old Japanese people. They have a car coming up. They have their own home electronics division. And PlayStation is kind of their own separate thing. Oh, and their movie division, they have that too. But I think they're in a very special position where they could support, and they know that their loyal customers come to their studios and their studios games for the quality, and they want to encourage that within Bungie. Bungie has the quality. I guess they needed like an umbrella to sit under to give reassurances to their employees that we're going to be functioning for well into 10-year lifespans. I don't know how long Destiny 2 is going to be around.
I think we kind of mentioned. I think we mentioned it on our Reasonably Hype, right? But I think to me, I like to theorize that it's like, well, now we can have, instead of 500 items, we can have 1,000 items, and maybe they don't have to vault all this old content anymore. Maybe they got the
keep it out there.
Whatever they wanted to push Destiny to be, they finally have the funds, right? So, but I think it's a mutually. I think first is lopsided towards Bungie and the fact that they have some security, like you were saying, but in the long run, I think Sony will play it out to where it's like, oh, we bought you guys for this much because we want you to do this, and this, and they already said, I don't know if that was a direct quote, Lise, but they did say, right, 10 live service games by 2026. That's 10? That's 4 years away, dude. So
what the hell?
So right now it's a little more in favor for Bungie, but I'm sure they're gonna be plucking the talent here and there. Hey, go lead this team, go lead that team. Which I think on a quality, like over time, Bungie's high quality and Sony's been high quality, right? And now they have the checkbook here. I did add a quick little thing to your thing, Luis. I put the Luis side B to the story. But another thing that Sony did come out and say is that they are thinking of turning Bungie franchises into movies, so quote, so that their IP can flourish and grow big. Dalan, you had a couple thoughts on this, man? The fact that we're gonna get a bunch of movies, Destiny movies?
No, I was about to say, I just got one comment. Destiny the movie. That's all we need. Bring back Nathan Fillion, Miss Cage 6, and we're good.
All right, there you go.
And also Peter Dinklage is the ghost. We don't need the other guy. I don't mind the other guy.
Oh,
but Peter
whoa.
Yeah.
We need Dinklebot.
Dinklebot back.
Does he want to come back? I don't know.
Who knows? He's been complaining.
He does well for himself.
He's been complaining a lot on social media about all kinds of stuff, so I don't know if he wants to come back. But I guess we'll see some Destiny movies and TV shows, which I'm kind of down. Like a lot of times I skip the wall of text that Destiny gives. All right, tell me where to shoot. tell me where I need to jump now, type of thing. All right, so we'll move on to quick takes, and I put this in quotes all the time because it's never really necessarily that quick. But I'm gonna throw this one to Dalan first. And well, this was a Dalan Deo, and we did get into it a little bit last week. But so the NieR creator, which is a Platinum Games, has said that they want to focus on games that can be enjoyed and loved for a longer period of time, and they also want to make larger, riskier games. So I think some of it is like, are they thinking live service games? And I was thinking like, no, they want Dalan to play fucking NieR Automata 1.34576 a 7th and 8th time is what they're thinking. But I don't know, Dalan, is that what they're thinking when they're talking about longer games and games to be more enjoyed?
No, they are actually talking about a potential live service game, or at least that's the idea in this case. Because the new president who actually took over, I can't pronounce his name very well, Mr. Anabi, I'm just going to say his last name. He actually wants it to be geared more towards something along the lines of live service, and he didn't want to confirm it. He came out with a little quote recently where he was like, oops, I don't want to say too much. So we had to end up stopping. Yeah. But the idea of having larger games from the people who did Devil May Cry and Metal Gear Revengeance and Bayonetta, to not have these really short games and just have just longer stories. I don't care if it's a beginning, middle, and end. If they create larger games and not like 6 short stories that you have to replay in different views, I'm cool with that. If they make larger games and put more characters in it, have more voice actors come and actually have multiple characters, that'd be super awesome. If anything, they could make an open world game. I don't think they've actually done that yet, outside of kind of Okami.
Oh, was it or at least games? Okami was
that was some of the creators of Okami
Clover, right?
Are now some of the creators from Clover are now with Platinum Games. Okay. So that's part of it. But the fact is that they could make these larger world games instead of just these linear hallways. I mean, everybody's going the way of Breath of the Wild. People played Skyrim, Fallout. They haven't had a chance to really do this. Right now, I think the only thing that they may potentially have that I don't know if it's live service or not because it hasn't come out is the upcoming Babylon Fall.
Oh, that's why you're so hyped about. That's why you're so hyped about. Me and Luis are always like, what the hell is that? What are you talking about, Dalan? Babylon Fall. Okay, that's what you keep talking about. But look, so what you're mentioning, it is like kind of what the guy was saying, right? It's larger, riskier games. That means you kind of pump more money into these open worlds. And I don't know how successful these games have been. I'm sure they sell maybe 1 million, 2 million copies, but to make these to fund these games, I think it requires selling more copies of it.
Hey man, I'm down for a Devil May Cry 6.
You're only one person, Dalan. You're only one person, and I'm definitely not playing these games 5 or 6 times. All right, so there's that. Deo, what are your thoughts on this, man? Should they take the risk to make kind of a more open world or live service?
With Platinum, it's kind of questionable because they canceled like Scalebound, so they do have like management issues when it comes to their timing and their tech or whatever. But I think it's a good, gamble for them anyway. And I think they see a lot of trends that are going through video games, like Monster Hunter World. That's a live game, or like Final Fantasy. Although that's Final Fantasy. What's the online MMORPG one? Like a lot of
Realm Reborn. Realm Reborn.
Okay. Right. So a lot of money and revenue is made off of like these like live service type games that aren't necessarily. I mean, Final Fantasy is big, but the amount of effort put into them isn't necessarily as like a pressure cooker situation compared to like these, multi-million-dollar games that take up so much money and time and effort for the studio. They eventually get burned
Destiny.
out. Yeah. So
hey, Destiny's still going there?
Yeah, I know. It takes up a lot of time and effort and money. That's my point.
And so they might want to, transition themselves or maybe a small part of their teams to support those longer type of games, others traditional types of games, with a live service type of game. It
I
could even be like a mobile game, maybe.
But
games make
that's part of why I'm waiting for Babylon Fall to actually see how they really try to implement it, because they were pairing with Square Enix to do this, yes, but a lot of the battle system and the storytelling that they have is by Platinum Games.
But you know what? I think to what you were saying, Dale, I think you kind of hit it right there, man. Saying like a Monster Hunter type of game, because Platinum Games, their games are tight gameplay wise. Like they're really smooth, they're nice and action heavy, and they're kind of the best playing action games, right? For the most part, I think a Monster Hunter type where it's sort of live service, but it's still like scaled down enough to where it's like, oh, it's gonna be badass combat still.
Right. Like whenever you think of like Platinum Games, it's like heavy third person action, right? Which is kind of intimidating for casual players, or like, people that don't necessarily want that type of stress when they're playing video games. Yeah. So something with like on par with like Monster Hunter, where you join a bunch of people, it's not all on your shoulders. You could definitely have fun with your friends, and it generates hella cash for them. Like I think that's why they're looking into it. I'm not just necessarily saying they're going that direction, but
I mean, they said it right. It would be a riskier route, right, to go down that path. Luis, before we move on, man, what are your thoughts on this here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about the actual developer themselves. At least not, definitely not as much as Deo and Dalan for sure. But I think it makes the most sense for them to do a live service game. I mean, it's kind of been the trend, right? And for them to think like, how often, I don't know how often they release a game, but then to think, okay, well, if we want to fund our next project, it kind of helps if we have a project that's making money while we're trying to work on this other one.
That's true.
Possibly. So that's the reason why that makes sense to me, especially if you're talking about 2 million copies. Like it's good, but it's not no 160 million copies.
Yeah, you can't funnel
GTA 5.
Yeah, you can't funnel you can't funnel NFTs through that. You can't you can't do all these kind of recurring kind of payments or recurring money coming in, right? So yeah, it's kind of one of those things where it's like it's the trend. You can't necessarily like keep avoiding that trend, right? Especially if you want your studio to grow and to kind of be in the current ecosystem and what people expect, right? Another thing, here's the next one on here, Shinji Mikami.
Well, really quick.
Oh, go ahead.
I know you can't see me.
Oh, damn, something's happened. Dalan's lost. We're back from technical difficulties. Dalan, what did you want to say?
The last thing I was actually going to mention, because it kept getting brought up, it's the reason I brought up Babylon Fall, is because it is the one game that I know of that they're making that's even close to Monster Hunter. It's going to be Monster Hunter-like. It's going to be you get with your friends, you do a couple of levels, and you try and keep up with your friends. You have that weight taken off your shoulders, but I don't believe it is a complete live service game like Destiny or GTA or anything like that. So I think it's going to be along those same lines.
Okay, I got you, Dale. I feel you on this.
So it's going to be a good test run.
Yeah, so they'll figure it out. The next here on our news is Shinji Mikami, which was the original Resident Evil 1 director. I guess he's hearing the rumors too that Resident Evil 4 is going to be remade. It hasn't been confirmed, but that's kind of what people are saying out there. He's saying that one of the things he hopes they improve for Resident Evil 4 is the story. Apparently, and this is according to VG247, he wrote the original story for Resident Evil 4 in 3 weeks, which I thought it was fine, man. I thought in those 3 weeks, I think that guy did a pretty decent job out there. But I guess that's one of the things he wants to improve. Luis, what are your thoughts here, man, on the fact that this guy's like, yeah, let's make the story better. The creator.
Yeah, I don't think it'll happen, but it's interesting to know that, like, sort of, I was actually reading that tweet like on my way to the liquor store earlier today, and I was like, 3 weeks? What the hell is this guy talking about? But yeah, we'll see what they do, man. I don't think it'll happen, but that would be interesting.
Yeah, I don't. I all I remember for that game is of course is Leon. She kept calling him, and then the guy with the vest is like, "What are you buying? what are you selling? But other than that, I remember, I think I remember mostly the gameplay, right? The fact that it was a game changer for the series. But the story was okay, I guess, right? Or Dalen, do you remember? I know you're our lore guy, Dalen. You're our official lore guy. They could definitely work on making Resident Evil 4 better, or the story at least.
Okay, just the thought of him being in a bathroom, just writing the story down on a roll of toilet paper, 3 weeks.
Okay.
Whoa! We didn't get. Wait, what are you talking? No one gave all these details, Dalan. We just said in 3 weeks he wrote the story. Yeah.
But you just wrote it down on this piece of scratch paper in a short period of time. It just popped out of his head onto a piece of paper, and we were just like, "Let's run with it." Yeah. All right, that's fine. The fact is, yes, they took that story and built off of it because there was a lot to that story. They had the whole thing. That's where they introduced Leon as an FBI agent. That's where they brought in the Las Plagas. It wasn't just a zombie viral outbreak anymore. That's what it was called. That's when they finally got out of the city and they were in like little villages and it was more open world to be able to find things. That's when they introduced the blue coins, first person shooter, or third person over the shoulder, I guess. Yeah. But the fact is they introduced a lot of things to this game. And they implemented it into the story to make it fun and enjoyable and actually something that people could follow. Yeah. Yes, it needs to be reacted, not unlike Resident Evil 2, where the guy with a shotgun in the freaking gun shop was waving his arms for like 30 minutes. Yeah. But, I think that they could do better with the story, kind of like they do with the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yeah. They took a good story and they made it better.
You talking about like let's kind of counter everything the original did with this little ghost storyline, this little.
Okay, fine. They took Resident Evil 2 and they made Resident Evil 2 remake.
Okay, yeah, but better. You were talking about Final Fantasy, Resident Evil 2 and 3.
Yeah, I know. I took the wrong example because I knew you were going to throw that off to the left field. But the fact is, they did a good job with the Final Fantasy storyline as well. Okay. But more 1-to-1, they took Resident Evil 2 and made the Resident Evil 2 remake. They took Resident Evil 3. They did something and made a Resident Evil 3 remake, but the story was still okay.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see, but there's definitely it could be cleaned up a little bit, right? But
yeah.
And 4 is the one I'm still waiting for that Code Veronica remake. I kind of want to see that one because 4 is kind of there. You go, right, Dale. We'll get that.
They need to remake Code Veronica, and they need to do like an enhanced version of Resident Evil 5 because. Man, Chris can't be punching boulders out there.
6, they just need to completely remake from ground up, dude. Like, just call it 6, it's whatever else.
I honestly disagree with that statement. If you want to get into the nuances of Resident Evil, we could do it right now. But I don't think you want to.
At some point in time. But, yeah, definitely, it's one of those things that'll clean it up. And Resident Evil 4 is the one that kind of plays the most modern, so I think it's the one I would be least excited to play again. But, yeah, if they clean up the story, they kind of clean up the graphics, the gameplay a little bit. Dale, before we move on though, what's that about Code Veronica, man? You'd like to see a remake of that.
I'm with you, Dale.
Too long, man. Come on. Like I like Code Veronica because it's like the traditional way, way to play Resident Evil. Because like after 4, everything kind of became a little action oriented and like its own thing, and then 7 and 8 are a whole different thing. But like I want to see like a traditional remake of Code Veronica because I think people would be at least because the hype for Resident Evil is really high again. Yeah. So it'd be a really good time to tap into that story and that kind of gameplay again.
Yeah.
I need to remake Code Veronica and Revelations.
I didn't Revelations.
I never got to play that.
Revelations because they misspelled it on.
They misprinted that thing on the 3DS. Revelations, all right. Revelations or tons or whatever it is. But yeah, real quick. I wish I had put it in here. I know we're going super long already, but do you guys know? I don't know if maybe Deo or Dalan, you guys could give me a little bit of background, but apparently. Nemesis was supposed to be the one on Dreamcast, but instead Code Veronica, Nemesis was supposed to be on Dreamcast and Code Veronica on PlayStation, but some kind of contract. So did you guys hear about that, or did you guys know about that? I'm hearing silence, so maybe next time.
That's one time where I can say no. I did not hear about that.
I saw that making the rounds, and I didn't kind of dig more into it. But for next time, dear listeners and watchers.
Hey man, we got our games. I'm good.
Yeah, so we'll see. Hey, Resident Evil 4. There you go. A couple of quick things here. A couple of Nintendo sales things. I know this is more for me and Luis, I guess, a little bit, and Dalan. There's one in here. The Switch is officially Nintendo's best-selling home console ever at 103.5 million. million, which is eclipsing the Wii's at 101.6. I think that puts the Switch like behind the PlayStation 4. So, and behind the PlayStation 4, then the DS, then like PS2 is king. We needed our DVD players, all right, when the PS2 dropped. So that thing is, when will we ever need a DVD player again? I guess is my question.
Hey man, and you had the block, you had the extra attachment for the internet. We were fine.
We were so hyped, dude. And
even though Dreamcast had it built in, but that's fine.
Those, you know what? That PS2 being at the #1 spot fucking killed the Dreamcast, dude. That's what pisses me off. The hype was so real that it killed the Dreamcast, all right? That thing, like, what was it? PS2 was out for like 2-3 months, and Dreamcast and Sega was like, all right, we're throwing in the towel. We've seen enough. After 2 months. Luis, what are your thoughts here, man, on Nintendo Switch selling so hard?
Yeah, that'll happen when you bring the wackiness that the 3DS had with the 2DS, the 2DS Lite, 3DS, 3DS XL, the two, all that stuff. So
you bring in
the Nintendo, you bring in the Nintendo Switch, you bring in the Nintendo Switch Animal Crossing bundle, you bring in this bundle, you bring in the SWOLED, you bring in the Switch Lite,
the Mario Kart.
You're gonna, dude, because even myself included, there was a lot of people that were like, damn, I really have a Switch, but I want that purple one. You know, that purple Switch Lite or whatever, that GameCube color.
Shoes.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Dude,
you bring that up, and it's like everybody in the family has to have one to play together as well. So you gotta buy another one.
I might be worst case scenario, dude. I bought 2 of those motherfuckers day one, dude. I bought 2 of them. Why? I only used one of them.
2 decks as well.
Yeah,
you bought the second one for your daughter, Carlos, so you guys can play together.
And that thing is collecting dust. The second one, I'm looking at it. It's behind there. I didn't even know it was behind these discs right now. I'm looking at it.
Let me borrow it, Carlos. Let me borrow it.
We'll talk off air, Dalan. But but I won't leave you too much in suspense. Most likely, no, Dalan. Most likely, the response is no. But we'll talk about it.
I understand. It's a $300 cost.
But we'll talk about it. But we'll talk about it off air. The next thing on here, this one's just for me, I suppose. But the Pokemon Legends Arceus sold 6.5 million copies in the first week. I think that's kind of like the second fastest selling Pokemon games. It's kind of nice to hear. I've been playing it a little bit. I kind of like how it plays out. The next one, it's a little concerning, but maybe you can kind of help me out here, Dalan. But apparently Metroid Dread could already be the series' all-time bestseller. It has sold 2.74 million units based on Nintendo's latest financial results. Tell me they're not going to forget about the better version of this in Metroid Prime, Dalan. Please tell me that that's what they're going to do.
They very much will. They're gonna say, all right, we released a Metroid, now let's put it on the back burner for a long time and come back to this when this game becomes retro. That's what's gonna happen. It happens every time with Metroid, is that Metroid is a wonderful game, but not enough people actually want to say, all right, let me play this Metroid game. I'd say Metroidvania, but it is literally Metroid. And just people know the reference. They see the game, but they're like, all right, I'm going to hear stuff about it, and then I'm not going to play it.
And look, I think
it's too hard for a lot of people.
Even me hating on it a little bit, I mean, it was still my game of the year. It was my #1 game of the year. But I still, look, as good as Metroid Dread was, Metroid Prime is even better. It's even better. I want that game. Now they pushed it out.
You need your 3D Metroid.
Yeah, it's just too good, dude. It's just Metroid Prime was just.
We have Doom, right?
Doom is its own thing, which Doom is also great. But no, man, Metroid Prime is something else, dude. That thing was special. All right, it was special. Next on here, a little bit special as well. Infinity Ward is apparently leading the development of 2022's Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and I think they're going to be calling it Modern Warfare 2, but I guess we'll find out. It's going to have a new drug war campaign and a third Warzone map. I like how, like, just the general quote that they threw out there, it's going to be quote-unquote, quote, industry-leading innovation and a broadly appealing franchise setting, end quote. Whatever the fuck that means. Luis, can you help me out, dude? Are we hyped about the new Call of Duty?
You want to know what that means?
What does it mean?
You want to know what that means? They're going to sell a shit ton of copies of what that means. That's
okay.
Exactly what that
Reasonable.
means. Especially with the...
That's what that means.
I was reading, I forgot the exact numbers. I know you had it in the link here too, but I saw it on Twitter as well, as I'm sure probably both of you guys did. The budget for this game is going to be reportedly around 200 mil to 250.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Like that.
Yeah.
So that would, I think that puts it as the most expensive game they've ever developed as far as the Call of Duty franchise is concerned.
That's an Insomniac
but
game studio. Jesus Christ.
That you buy one,
You
right? You
serious?
buy an Insomniac that produces hits after hits after hits, dude. Like that's what you get.
That's money.
So yeah, and they're probably definitely gonna make that money like almost immediately once that
yeah.
game comes out. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, they did say so in that same tweet. I think it was Robert Bowling who basically worked on the original Modern Warfare, or he worked at the Call of
Yeah,
Duty
he was
studio.
their community manager many years
for
ago.
a long
Yeah.
time, and he actually said like Modern Warfare, the original, what, 08, 09, whatever.
Modern Warfare 2.
No,
Yeah, that one
the
was
first
like 50 million.
He was talking about the first one was about like.
No, it was the second one.
Was it the second one? It was about 50 million. So he's talking about like 5 times the production budget of the original Modern Warfare, which is crazy. But like you were saying, dude, these come out the gate and they make 500, 600 million like in day one, right? Or 800 million, whatever it is. Except Vanguard, because they said, nah. The fans said, you know what? Thumbs the fuck down. We are not entertained. But this one comes out, and I think we're hyped, dude. I think our group chat is pretty hyped about it. They just want more Modern Warfare. They don't want nothing else. They just want Modern Warfare. So I'm pretty sure they're gonna do pretty well, and they're gonna make a gajillion dollars. And Microsoft's gonna be happy with all this cash that's coming in. It'll be on Game Pass at least, right? That'll be kind of nice. That we'll see it on Game Pass. Deo, don't think that I forgot about you, man. We got a glimpse at Gran Turismo 7. This a breakthrough AI project, I guess, debuts February 9th. So that's when does this drop? So tomorrow you guys will be able to see that breakthrough AI, whatever that is. So Dale, whatever you want to talk about, if it's that AI or the state of play, right? You checked out the Gran Turismo 7 state of play. Yeah. Did it convince you? Is it gonna be better than Forza? What do you think?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, I don't know if it's better than Forza, but like
no, they're on a different level. You cannot ask that question, Carlos.
I said
I don't care that you said Dale right now. I'm sorry, Dale. I gotta cut you off because Carlos is saying some dumb shit right now.
I'm saying,
Carlos, you cannot compare Forza
I know that.
to Gran Turismo.
Dylan, I know that. We're keeping it smoky. And I like how Dale was like, yes, all right. And I know he doesn't necessarily that was like a quick reaction. I caught you for a second, but we'll give you some time, Dale. What are your thoughts on this thing here?
Well, after the state of play, I'm really excited. I didn't know that they were going to be making this AI dealio because like it's brand news to me. But they should have been doing that for like a while now. But I don't know what the Polyphony Digital does on their off time, because they seem to take a lot of time developing just one Gran Turismo game for like once every 5 or 7 years or something.
Yeah.
But I heard that the AI portion that they've been helping make is going to leak into other parts of their businesses. I don't know what it's for, like maybe to manipulate finances. Who knows? But
to manipulate. Okay, I got you. Invest in some NFT, some crypto.
But if they want to be like competitive compared to Forza's had drivatars since Forza 1 back in 2005. And they've been using that neural net AI this whole entire time.
That's what I was thinking when they said that they're trying to kind of like, wait, we know Drive Clubs have been doing this since 03 or 04 or whenever, right? With the drivatars, the Forza stuff or whatever it is, right? But that's what I was thinking. Do you think that's really what it is? They're doing their own version of drivatar, and to them it's groundbreaking when they've been doing it?
I think it's a small part. It's like, oh, we have this tech, maybe you should use it inside of your game to enhance it further. But I think there's a bigger picture that Sony management wants to implement this AI with.
Yeah, but you're pretty hyped on what you've seen in this last week. Are you more hyped, or you're just still about the same as far as like when this game eventually drops?
It's burning up. Like I'm excited. I got new tires for my BMW today, and so I was driving around. I was like, oh man, it's hitting right now. The whole like driving in real life, driving in sim. So Gran Turismo might be the one that, like, if I'm not driving in real life, I'm going to be at my desk with my wheel. Well, I have to buy one, but like I'll buy a wheel for Gran Turismo because it's that good.
Yeah.
But it's kind of sketch for a while because when I saw, like, I think it was back in E3 2019 when they had a first trailer for it, it looked good, but like there's a lot of pop in. Some of the tracks weren't included into the final track list, and some of the graphics weren't up to par for like what you would expect as out of
it looks clean. I don't know if it was one of your tweets or a retweet, but I was looking at one of those screenshots, and we always say it, right? I'm sure they were saying it in 97. I'm looking at a magazine. I'm looking at a real car. In 97, blocky ass PlayStation 1 graphics, and we were talking about how amazing and realistic it looks.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Hey, man, they had some great skins when they made Gran Turismo 2. But that's when they really stepped up their game.
But literally, I think you retweeted one of these, and I was like, "What the hell? It's like I'm looking outside the window right now, or something like that, and a car's outside. Like it just looks incredible." And Dalan, of course, I know it doesn't compare, dude. The Gran Turismo experience is just different, dude. It's called a fucking simulator machine, or whatever's in the title of the game, right? So Forza is definitely more on the arcadey side, right? Kind of gameplay style, but
Forza Horizon, specifically Forza Horizon. Yeah.
But even the Forza proper or whatever, it's not as simmy as Gran Turismo, right? I mean, it's a little more simmy, but yeah.
Well, the weird thing is that both of those games, they do compete against each other in the console space, but they're not as like a hardcore simulator compared to a lot of the PC games. So in PC games, you have there's a series called iRacing, and there's like another one that compete against, and those are way more accurate physics-wise compared to these two games. These two games are a little bit more generalized and a little simplified,
a little more mainstream-ish, right?
You're talking about Truck Driver Simulator. That's what you're talking about.
Hey,
no.
I hope you played that one. I hope you played that, Dale. That thing is
Farming Simulator.
No, dude. There's is it called Snow Racer or something like that, right? Where it's wild, dude. Try that game. I tried it.
I actually think I know what you're talking about. It's like a snow hospital simulator or something like that.
Something like try that game.
Snow Hospital?
No, it's not Snow Hospital.
It's a weird thing.
No, it's not Snow. It's like Snow something, but I suggest try that out, dude. Like you will feel the weight of your load behind you. No, phrasing, Dalan, phrasing, but you will feel the kind of the back trailer or whatever just kind of giving way up under you or whatever. That one's rough. But hey, I'm happy for you, Deo. I don't know if I want to try it. I hope they release their Spartacus at that point, so I can definitely very much likely give that game a try. But I'm glad you're hyped for it, man. One did on this next one. Dalan, I'm very sorry, but it looks like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is being delayed to 2023. They haven't confirmed it, but it's all sources point to this kind of quietly being pushed out to 2023. How you feeling about this, Dalan?
Feel like we got that Justice League. We have a Justice League movie. We have Suicide Squad. All right. We got the Suicide Squad movie. We have the Suicide Squad movie, the one that recently came out, and now we got Peacekeeper.
The good one, you mean? The good Suicide.
All right. His name was Peacekeeper, right?
Yeah.
That's So now we have Peacekeeper. So
Peacemaker.
We've got plenty of Peacemaker.
Yeah.
We got plenty of Suicide Squad stuff happening, and I believe that they're even in the talks for another Suicide Squad movie. So,
but
why?
Yeah, but not a Rocksteady game, Dalan. Not a Rocksteady game version of this.
We already have Rocksteady games. It's called Lord of the Rings. They did it already.
I need more Rocksteady in my life.
All right, well then wait for that. What was it? The Batman game that's coming out. The one with the.
Is that them?
I can't remember.
Think that's
the
them. Gotham
Knights. No, it's not even them. But it's the same gameplay.
No, I'll just go to all the games they ripped off. That ripped them off, dude. Uncharted. Who else ripped off their combat, dude? Everything ripped off.
Spider-Man.
There you go. Spider-Man ripped off their combat. I'll just go to.
Like I said, Lord of the Rings. They took it.
Yeah. So look, we're gonna do this. We're gonna end the kind of the news portion of it, but I did want to keep it on. I hope you help us out on this, Dale. But apparently, there's some Halo Infinite fans that were buying nail polish for an exclusive skin, and it turns out it was only for Forza, or it was actually for Forza. And this is a quote from you on your Twitter. You said, "You get your house together, Xbox." Damn. I hope that was how you were saying it in your mind. But what's going on here, dude? What was going on with the situation?
Well, I think so. The promo was that you would buy this nail polish and get and unlock coatings for your Spartan armor,
as you do,
and they have all the colors that you want. You don't want to get rid of a certain demographic. You want to include everyone, so the female demographic is included. But like, I guess they mixed up the codes or whatever they're giving away. I'm not sure what it looks like. I don't know if it's like a QR code or if it's like a redemption code, but they mixed it up. So instead of getting Halo Infinite coatings, you are getting Forza skins, which I don't know how you cross-pollinate those two things so easily. But I think it's more common in like the UK or the EU and like Asia territories, compared to like the North American ones. But
I like how it's just
we're not trying to get the nail polish.
I like how it's like a whole jumble, like a whole mess. Like, first of all, you got gamers out here like, let me buy a nail polish, please, for this exclusive skin in Halo Infinite, and then you type it in, it's like Forza Horizon. I don't know what's up with this. I don't know what's going on here, but I do like that. I do like your response to it. Get your house together, Xbox. Damn,
seems so easy. Come on.
Yeah, and so that's it for Salient Points.
You can do it.
So that's it for Salient Points. Stay tuned for our game club or what you've been playing. I don't know what we're going to call it, but stay tuned for that one. But for this Salient Points, I'm Carlos Macias. Dale Bloss from Up in the Bay, thank you so much, sir. Dalan Quirkwood, thank you for showing up. And Luis Mendez on the Wheel of Steel. Thank you guys for joining us, and stay tuned for the next episode.